Hey guys, welcome to another Unity tutorial. In this video, we'll be covering the basics of player movement. By the end of this tutorial, you'll understand how to implement basic player movement in Unity. You'll learn how to use rigid body 2D components for physics-based movement and collision detection. This tutorial will give you a solid foundation for implementing player controls in your own 2D Unity games. Let's start by opening Unity. First, you want to click on New Project, then select 2D. You can also name your project if you like. Once you're done, press Create Project. So as you can see here, I created a basic platform with a player. When I press play, of course, nothing happens. So you want to add a box collider to the player and a rigid body. Then on the platform, add a box collider. So when you press play, the player should collide there. Next, let's add a tag to the player and the platform. Select the player, then go to Inspector tab, then add a tag. This is done to identify the game objects and differentiate them from other game objects in the scene. So I'll be creating a player tag and a ground tag for the platform. Now select your player and change its tag to player. Then select your platform, then change it to ground. Now let's create a script for the player movement. First, you wanna click your player, then add a component. Create a new script. Then you want to name your script player movement. Then you wanna click on your script. This will open your Microsoft Visual Studio, so you can work on your script. Now let's create some variables for your player movement. First, you want to add a public float for the speed and do the same for the jump. Then you want to add a private float for the player movement. Then you want to add a public rigid body 2D. It's used as a reference. Now go to update and add move equal input.getAxis horizontal. Don't forget to add a semicolon. Then add an rb.velocity, new vector. So what this does, it updates the player's velocity based on the horizontal input and the current vertical velocity. So let's save the script and check if it works. Don't forget to assign this to the player tag. So as you can see here, the player now moves left and right. Now let's add a jump input. Go back to your Visual Studio. Then add an if statement. If input get button down, jump. So what this does, it checks if the player is pressing space or not. RB, add force, new vector 2, RB dot velocity x. Oh wait, let's remove this. Jump. So let's check if the code works. Don't forget to add a value for the jump. Let's add something like 500. Now you can see the player is now jumping. But there's a problem with it. It doesn't actually jump. When you hold space, the character flies. So let's do something to fix that. So let's go back to Visual Studio. Add a new variable called public float is jumping. This is to check if the player is jumping or not. Now go here and add private void on collision enter 2D. Then just press enter. Then add an if statement. Collision dot game object dot compare tag. Then you want to use the tag for the ground is jumping equals false. So what this does, this method is called when the player collides with another object, such as the ground. It checks if the collided object has the tag ground and sets jumping to false, indicating that the player is on the ground. So let's copy this and paste it here. Then set this one to true. So this method is called when the player stops colliding with the ground. Then you want to go back here. Where is that? You want to go back in between this. Then add is jumping equals false. Oops. So let's save the file and check if it works. Oh wait, we have an error. Let's check. This should be exit. Okay, let's check. Let's check again. Oh wait. This should be bool. Think we should be okay now. So as you can see, I'm spamming space and it doesn't float anymore or fly. So you can see here the player rotates. So let's fix that by going to the rigid body. Then you want to find freeze rotation. So when you jump and you hit a corner, the player shouldn't rotate anymore. There you go. That will be all in this tutorial. In the next tutorial, we'll be showing you how to import, slice, and animate 2D assets. Thanks for watching and see you on the next one. So now that you're done with the sprite editor, you can now close this tab. When you click the sprite sheet, you can see this arrow. Then you can see all the sprites, the slice sprites. So let's click the character, then let's drag one sprite here into the sprite renderer. Then it should display the sprite now.